and welcome back to Dukascopy TV. I'm Monica Gibson. Dan Zwerski joins me in the studio right now. Dan, welcome to the studio.
Thank you, Monica. Pleasure to be here.
Fantastic. Now, we're going to be looking at the sort of marketing, the digital side of things as well, and how it's really all come about. So what, from your point of view, can you tell us about perhaps the current trends and as opposed to the more traditional forms of marketing that we'd previously seen?
Okay, well, it's a great question. First of all, the internet has definitely changed the way we do things in the marketing world today. And from a traditional standpoint versus today we're looking at much more of an engagement of the client and the customer versus in the past. In the past, as you might know, we had lots of different traditional media such as television, newspapers, books, and so forth, which tended to push out the information to the client or to the prospective audience and hope that some of that stuck. Now, going back to today, looking forward, now things are much more engaging. So there's much more of a give and take. There's a conversation going on. There are things that people are doing to engage with the business, to understand the business. And I think that's one of the key elements. The second thing that's much more happening today is the vast amount of data that is being collected. The third thing that I think that you need to look at is the way that media and that marketing products and services are being distributed today.
Indeed, it's been physically present, but there's so many different mediums of doing that. And with that in mind, talking about the digital side of things, how has that really had a changed or revolutionised the way that we look about marketing?
Well, to say it's revolutionized it is an understatement. It's basically changed it completely. Digital marketing right now is, from the trends perspective, is much more about what's called content marketing. And what content marketing is, it's the ability to educate and to provide the client or the audience with product knowledge, with understanding of how things work, to get them kind of established in a relationship with the company, and also to get them a certain level of trust before they then go on and get to that physical purchase. The second way is in the way that the digital marketing has affected how companies can reach new and potentially great markets. And right now with digital marketing, you can now reach anybody practically anywhere in the world in a way that you could not do so 10, 15 years ago. Finally, the third way that it can be really a big change is in the way that prospective clients are targeted. Because now you have the ability through digital marketing to really focus and create a niche market, whereas in the past you did not have that ability. For example, if you have a billboard and someone's driving down the road, they may or may not be interested in your product. But now with the way that the digital marketing is presenting itself and the opportunities, you are able to focus your product and your services and your outreach to very specific demographics. Are they married? Are they single? Are they man, woman, age, income, geography, all those different things. So really it's just completely opened the door for a new realm.
Indeed, and you know, the world is a much smaller place in that sort of sense that you can contact so many people in so many different places, and you know a lot more about your customer essentially. But what are some of the mistakes that perhaps all this information that we have that we're garnering is actually leading to in terms of this topic made by like bigger corporations, for example?
Well, one of the biggest mistakes companies big and small make is that they don't take the time to properly plan and strategically execute their marketing. They don't know exactly who their audience is. What they do is they say, well, this is a great product, these are, and they put it out there, but they don't necessarily target, they don't really focus. So I call it the shotgun approach, where they just kind of hit it up against everything versus a much more laser-focused approach. And in order to really understand where you need to take your marketing, where your audience is, who those potential buyers are, really one has to do the legwork in advance to really understand that. So that's one of the biggest things that I've seen companies do that really gives them a disadvantage from the very beginning. The second thing is bringing up that idea of data again. Again, there are vast amounts of data that one can collect. However, I found that a lot of companies, they gather that data, they collect the data, and it just sits there. So they either do one thing of two. They either do not do enough with the data that they find, or they, unfortunately, they make inconclusive and inconclusive amounts of assumptions based on the data. So they do things like they equate numbers of likes into clients. I mean, these are different things that you have to look at to really understand the data. So either use the data if you have it, and understand it better. So that's the second thing.
Absolutely. And then with that in mind, perhaps just lastly, Dan, like how can companies, banks, etc., be more effective with using this information and using the technology, for example, that they do have at their fingertips?
Well, I think financial institutions as well as other companies can take that data and use it to the advantage in the sense that they really need to focus on what is going to be good for the client. What did the clients want? What are the things that their clients are missing, their wants and needs? And then taking that data and helping to determine what it is that they can help fill what are their problems? How can we solve them? In some cases, I've noticed that companies will take a look at what is the product going to help me with? How is it going to improve my profit and so forth? But if they take a step back, they use that data in a positive way to engage with the clients and understand what they're missing, what their wants are, what their needs are, and then fulfill those needs, build the products, build the services that will fill that. Everything else will fall into place.
Well, it is hugely interesting and multifaceted, so many different angles and perspectives on it. But thank you so much, Dan, for coming in today and sharing your insights and experience with us. It's been a pleasure.
Well, it's been my pleasure. Thank you, Monica.
Thank you. Okay, well that's all from Dan and myself for the moment. There's plenty more coming your way on Dukascopy TV, so make sure you keep clicking back. Goodbye for now.